intense, thrilling, electrifying sport on the planet. Mixed martial arts. You've been looking for the definitive podcast to call your new home to hear everything about it. The search is over. This is the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. Bringing you the hottest MMA breakdowns straight from the heart of the octagon. This show is all about MMA breakdowns. For fans, by fans. We're talking UFC, MMA, and the occasional big boxing match. We'll bring our unique take on how these fights are going to play out and who we think are the best bets. Welcome to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. And now your hosts, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and Emiliano, a.k.a. Jive Turkey Nano.
What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter. I'm your host, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and with me, as always, is the co-host with the most, Jive Turkey Nano. How we doing, brother?
We're doing great, brother. Feeling good on this Monday. Almost halfway through December. My goodness, time flies when you're having a good time. And boy, it was a nice, violent weekend. I am excited to break it down with you, brother. A lot to cover.
Absolutely, baby. I am super excited. Had to turn up your mic volume there, man. Want to make sure the crowd can hear everything you are saying. I already adjusted it for you on my end, so we should be good to go now. That being said, as you stated very well there, we have quite a bit to talk about. First things first, as we like to do here on the No Filter Show, we're going to address the elephant in the room here, guys. And you know, as many great fights as we had, there's always going to be a bit of an elephant that we have to address typically on any given weekend. And the elephant this weekend, unfortunately, is the PFL. Now, I don't understand why they have this split marketing deal where in the US, they show their fights on ESPN Plus, which is a very known and accepted streaming service. And then in the UK, they don't utilize for their PFL Europe cards the same streaming service. I don't understand why they wouldn't utilize the same exact streaming service across the board. Why would you switch that up? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Maybe you feel differently, but I don't know, streaming it on DAZN versus ESPN Plus, like, why should I pay for another subscription service just to be able to watch the PFL Europe card? Like, I'm already paying for ESPN Plus.
Yeah, I agree, brother. I mean, not to get too much into the business part of it, because I'm curious if maybe there's some sort of deal contractually. Maybe they're obligated to be there for who knows how long. Maybe they could add other partnerships potentially. Maybe get those rights out to other networks or providers. Because like you mentioned, DAZN, right? It's another subscription. I mean, we live in a subscription world nowadays. I think we all probably have one or two, too many of them. So why add another one? I do say the only maybe caveat to DAZN is that you can get some boxing events on there as well. Canelo fights on DAZN, unless you're going the other route, which I'm not going to say because I always recommend trying to get them the right way. But again, all things considered, yeah, you got to get onto Prime Video. For example, I think One FC did a great job, or One Championship, excuse me, of being accessible, right? Knowing on a Friday night, there's no football going on that day, so you don't have to compete with that. And even on a Saturday night, there's no boxing, there's no UFC, outside of maybe basketball, which, that's the occasional person. If you're out and about, or you're at a friend's house, or you have the TV on, or, hey, most people have Prime Video, why not throw that on as well? It's that much easier, accessible, like you mentioned. Obviously, ESPN Plus would be ideal, or Fight Pass. But beggars can't be choosers, I guess, to your point there. PFL, maybe some food for thought, right? Maybe you can add partnerships, or maybe you get through this DAZN deal or contract and then, keep it moving.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is it doesn't make sense to me to have split viewership or split streaming viewership deals based on country. Like, I get the whole, like, they have, if you're going to do like a sorry, I'm not composing my words very clearly here. If you're going to do a pay-per-view style or something like that, I understand that they don't do pay-per-view in Europe, right? So like have it run on the TNT, formerly known as BT Sport. So that I get, but just splitting between DAZN and ESPN Plus, it's multiple streaming service. And as you said, like, all due respect, we've already got one too many of those folks. So I don't really want a whole lot more. So I didn't watch all of those fights live. I'd be lying if I told you I did, but pretty solid fights there. I mean, the most noteworthy fight that I really have to go over is Dakota Dichiva. And I mean, there was questions whether or not she should be an over 1,000 point favorite going into that fight. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I think the headlines for MMA Junkie read that PFL Europe champ Dakota Dichiva pumps brakes on Liz Carmouche fight after winning. So, I mean, like, she doesn't want to fight people like Liz Carmouche, and maybe there's no reason for her to. Because Liz Carmouche isn't in the UFC. Last time I checked, she's in Bellator, which is a dying company. I think Dakota Dichiva, that was her last fight on the contract, to my knowledge. So unless PFL offers her big money, I gotta think she's probably going to make it into the UFC very, very soon with a performance like that. She looked extremely good out there fighting her opponent this weekend in Valentina Scatizzi. She got the doctor's stoppage due to just absolutely pummeling that eye of her opponent. It was pretty much swollen shut. And, the doctor had to come in and stop it. And that was in between the first and second round. Not sure if you got to see that one, but if so, what were your thoughts on it? And do you think that she is UFC caliber quite yet?
Yeah, brother. Truthfully, was not able to catch this card. There was a lot going on. Was able to catch the one championship. Was able to get the UFC card, but yeah, was not able to get the PFL. And like we talked about, not as easily accessible to find highlights, to just get even the fight itself, like after the fact. So a little tough there for your boy. But hey, all things considered, I think we knew Dakota wasn't going there and make a statement. She made that statement. One thing I did notice as well is she did go on to Ariel Helwani's show and mentioned that she is excited that she's the Europe champion, but now she wants to go global, take that next step in her career. At 24 years old, with the skills she was able to display, I'm sure. And maybe if there's anything that sticks out to you there stylistically, but ultimately she's a beast. She needs to go global. She needs to take that next level up in competition. And, sky's the limit. Whether it's still in the PFL, it sounds like maybe there's another bell or a unifier, or like we talked about, there's all these different divisions, seasons. Either way, I'm sure there's plenty of strong women out there that you can match her up with, make a statement, continue to get the notoriety. And yeah, man, maybe the UFC's in her near future as well. Again, at only 24 years old, I'm sure there's still some skills she wants to work on. But there's only one place to really prove if you're the best, and that's in the UFC. So excited to see what's next for Dakota.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Nano. I completely agree. I think if you're trying to be the best, you got to beat the best. And to beat the best, you got to compete with the best. And the best compete in the UFC, folks. You can see it in the posters behind here. There's a reason I have so many UFC ones. There's a reason Nano is wearing a UFC fighter. There's a reason I am also wearing a UFC fighter shirt here, folks. Come on. The UFC are very, very much numero uno when it comes to this. So, come on. She's got to come into the UFC, folks. I think that's the only rightful thing that should happen in this one. Nano, I'm going to let you take the lead here on one championship. Are there any main standout fights that you want to talk about?
I mean, brother, there's a bunch of them, right? I mean, first and foremost, let's talk about one championship and the fact that every single fight that we had on Friday night was a finish, ladies and gentlemen. And might I just add, as a layman's, as going into Friday, we're doing our house chores, I'm doing my music, everything, and I get the notification on Prime Video. Good marketing. Your event's starting. How do they know? I don't know. Maybe they listen to our conversations. Maybe they just know I'm a sports guy. Regardless, got the notification. And now, dialed in. And again, I went in as a layman, as a casual. Okay, I had no expectations. Wasn't trying to be too judgy, just really wanted to take it in for what it was worth. This was my first dose of one championship in essentially its entirety. Granted, doing laundry, doing other things, but eyes were on the prize here, and my eyes liked what I saw. Let me just say, all around, at a high level, well, we saw some high level striking. I mean, it was fantastic. I would say it was easy on the eyes for someone like myself who comes from a boxing background. It was a lot of that. Not only does the ring actually mimic that of the boxing ring, not the UFC octagon, a little bit different there, but you're seeing the UFC octagon gloves, which is fun. I mean, you're seeing, hence why there is every finish on the entire fight card there. But there were a few standouts. I'll quickly get there, but just wanted to reiterate, one championship. Hey, man, you got a fan in your boy. I mean, it was a great production all through and through. Didn't have a lot of that dead time, the annoyance that we might see on other programs. Maybe that's shout out to Amazon Video as well, Prime Video, maybe making sure they have their P's and Q's. But again, a lot of great performances and a lot of high level striking. I mean, what was really fun and what stood out to me was these fighters' abilities to just, well, first off, be durable, right? Sometimes the best ability is durability. And these dudes are savage, man. And there's something too about the respect factor in that once they get knocked down, there is a 10 count similar to boxing. So it allows them to kind of recover, or there were some stoppages because they weren't able to make that 10 count. I do like that in a way. It again, coming from a boxing background, it felt tangible. It felt easy, right? And knowing that it's a Muay Thai bout, knowing I'm going to be seeing different striking, but boy, that striking was fun, man. I mean, I think Muay Thai is next level, brother. When it comes to their awareness and their spacing, I mean, they were in the pocket. There were times people were touching the other dude's heads and they're dropping elbows down and to the side. Some of the biggest shots were elbows here, a check elbow back this way, stunned the heavyweight champion. I mean, all things considered, brother, it was extremely fun to watch. There were literally no dull moments during the fight. If it went the full distance, which again, they were all stoppages, so didn't need the judges at all. They could take a day off and, just be a fan just like all of us. But again, it was a great, great event. I highly recommend anybody going back on there and accessing it if you can. I believe it should be available if it's not already. Should be soon. But now to these fighters, man, again, a few studs that stood out. I'll get to the co-main and the main event, but we got to talk about this kid, Johan Ghazali. I mean, this kid fought at a catchweight 141. And I say kid because the kid is 17 years old, ladies and gentlemen. He is not a legal adult. He is a kid. He is a kid prodigy. His name's Johan, but I want to call him Gohan. This guy has unlimited power potential, and he's still just a kid. For all you Dragon Ball Z fans out there, thank you, brother. Right on cue. Shout out MMAnomaly all in there on the P's and Q's. No producers here, no fancy studios. It's your boy. So always shout out there. Yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. But again, brother, I mean, just an extremely, very impressive performance. Got Edgar Tabarez out of there quickly. I mean, and it was a body shot, which you love to see. I mean, dude was just an absolute savage, man. So that was a fun performance, a quick one at that. And then the co-main event, man, Joe Nadawat versus Luke Lessie. That was a fucking banger, dude. That was my fight of the night. They both deserve to get 50K, in my opinion. Luke Lessie, man, he left it all out there before
Christmas
that guy
came early, dude. All of these fights were bangers.
Yes,
All
and
these
then obviously,
bangers.
yeah, and then obviously the freaking legendary performance here, Roman Kriklia, man. He was critical of himself, but he put homeboy Alex Roberts out of there with a clean 1-2. Didn't take much when you're that big and you could throw him that fast and that accurate. Boy, oh boy, he's special. And the one thing I love with one as well is I can literally just go on the website. Not only can you see all the stats, but you could literally see the highlight that they put on their Instagram, which I'm sure they're taking a page out of the UFC Dana White Power Slap book of, hey, get these violent knockouts on Instagram, let them go wild, let me send them to my boys, and that's going to generate that natural interest and get the public eye here on a global scale. So all things considered, man, fun, especially if you're putting together cards like this. I mean, literally every single fight had a stoppage. So, their social media team was clipping away and they were busy working OT the last couple of days getting those out there. But again, love what One Championship's doing. I'm a fan. I'm gonna get off my soapbox, brother. I'm gonna tap you in here. I'm out of breath.
I appreciate the tap in, brother. It's my round right now, and it's going to be a very short one. I'm not going to lie. I didn't prepare for a 5-minute round here like Nano did, but boy, he was ready to go, and I love to fucking see it. Dude, give the people a flex again, dude. You earned it. Let's fucking go. That was a fantastic breakdown. The only thing I'm going to add to it, there was only maybe one fight that really, really stood out to me that you didn't mention, and that's just because this kid, Thongpoon PK Sanchai, had so much hype behind him. And boy, oh boy, in the third round, Ellis Bader Barboza, who just looks like a creative fighter that you merged 3 or 4 fighters together to make, and fights like it as well. And also his name, Ellis Bader Barboza. Like, that's 3 different MMA guys' names. Come on, folks. You're not fooling anybody. You made this kid in a lab, and I'm on to you here. All right. But it was a very clean, as you said earlier, like you were talking about that main event fight, right? The 1-2 just clean down the pipe. This was same, but different, but still the same. So it was not a 1-2 down the pipe. It was more of a 3-4 to the body, just like double hooks, right? But he reversed it up. He went outside, inside. And it just completely shut down Thongpoon's whole everything, bro. You just saw him drop, and that was in the third round. Just a fantastic fight. Just a fantastic fight. A fantastic fight card from top to bottom. I honestly don't know that I have anything to add other than, the fact that one is really doing a lot of things right. More marketing. Market it more. That's the only thing I can say. That's the only thing I can add. Because I want to see more people knowing about one. I want to hear more people watching one. And I did not hear or see enough people talking about it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I did see them advertising on SureDog or Typology as we're doing our research. But, I mean, those are easy eyeballs to get access to. And I'm sure if you're looking on SureDog at all, you probably already know about the fights, right? But hey, good advertising maybe for those Twitch or us YouTube guys that are maybe on there as well and getting more visual. But all things considered, yeah, you got to get a little bit more mainstream. Maybe try to get on ESPN or Spike TV or MTV. I mean, not to get too marketing here and not to segregate anything, but it's like, hey, you got to appeal to the crowd, your audience, and mostly that's 18 to 40-year-old males, maybe even a larger range if we're being honest. So put it on Fortnite, put it on all these places that, us boys are spending time, and yeah, get the word out. But again, I think social media is a great example of it. Like, that's phenomenal. I'm going to start following them. And again, it's easy for me to like send those to the boys and like, yo, check this out. Right. And that's even if it's just a handful of people that already might train or love boxing or just already fans. And if they're, free and if they're knowing of these events, then they're probably going to be wanting to watch them as well. So, and then that's how it grows, brother. Like a seed, like a fire spreading, like a wildfire. It's quick, man. Escalates quickly. So I'm excited for them, and I hope they continue to do it. I was gonna say, just do themselves justice, right? Like, continue to put on good cards, promote them, get them out there make it easy for us fans to get a hold of and, hop on the train.
Abso-freaking-lutely, my guy. Abso-freaking-lutely. Yeah, I think that was just a fantastic fight card. Top to bottom, left to right, front to back, side to side. The whole thing was fucking great, bro. So again, if you have Amazon Prime, which, let's be honest, like 80% of us in the American world do, go watch that card. It's free for you because you have Amazon Prime. So just watch it on Prime Video. Fantastic fight card, especially as we stated last week on the episode. If you are one of those people that constantly finds yourself saying, boy, I really wish they wouldn't grapple so much. Boy, I really wish there were more finishes. Boy, I really wish that this was slightly more violent and a lot more striking focused. Folks, Muay Thai was literally invented for you. Go check it out. So give it a try, guys. You see Nano replicating these strikes over here, throwing bows. And while he's throwing the bows, we got to go ahead and start right off into the UFC Fight Night Song versus Gutierrez card.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
So the first things first, I got to make a vast apology here and say that I significantly mispronounced this lady that I said Ryan Dos Santos. Her name is actually Hyena, which is way cooler. Like, sounds like hyena. She, however, did not win the fight as we thought she would, but she was not someone that we were super hype on. She was not someone that we were super high on as well. And she's also not someone that we bet on. Now, we do have to go ahead and, again, as we like to do, address the truthfulness of the room here. We did put in or rather I did a 7-leg parlay. Let me go ahead and tell you how many of those cashed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, man. Come on. We were so freaking close, guys. We were so close. I think I was going to turn I don't know.
A few units into a bunch of units.
Like 100 units or something. I don't know, like 80 units. It was going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
God damn, dude. Song Kenan, if he only had done what he did in the last 15 seconds. Oh, man. I was upset. But I digress. We'll go through that in just a couple fights here. Do you have anything that you really, really are dying to say about Talita Alankar? I'll be honest with you. I thought the wrong person won that fight. I actually thought Hyena won and that we were correct in our call, as we usually are. Humble brag.
Humble brag. I know. I felt the same way, brother. I felt like I was a bit jaded watching it because of where our money and our hearts were at here in Rayon Amanda. But yeah, all things considered,
it's Hyena.
Hyena, my apologies. Hyena. I like that even better. Hyena. I thought she did enough, in terms of the strikes, in terms of the productivity throughout the 3 rounds. I really felt like she had enough. But it was a split decision. It was the first fight of the night. Unfortunately, I mean, it's I don't want to say low level because they're all professionals here, but it's unranked, female mixed martial arts where, frankly, like anything can happen. I don't know how they judge it. Both the women were active. Maybe they just felt a certain way. Curious to hear your breakdown other than that. But I agree with what you're saying. I felt like Hyena won that. But hey, shout out to Lita. I guess we do have to technically do a shot on that one, or at least keep it in the bag, because that's we're men of our word, and if we lose the bet, then we gotta put our money where the alcohol is, or just our alcoholic beverage, or any beverage of choice. But it's a Monday. We're getting an adult baby on.
So we have Average Avenues 11 in the chat. Shout out to this guy. We've been mutual followers of one another on Twitter, hashtag MMA Twitter. Shout out to the homies on there. But Average Avenues 11 is a real homie. We've been following each other for some time. He's got great MMA takes. Make sure you give that guy a follow over on Twitter. And with that being said here, he does say in the chat that he could see it either way. So Average, would love to see you tell me how you could see it for Talita Alankar. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and break down why I don't see it for Alankar. Now, we had 80 total strikes landed for Hyena versus 48 for Talita Alankar. We had 57 significant strikes for Hyena versus 36 for Talita Alankar. And mind you, Talita threw more, both total and significant strikes, but landed less. She also went 1 for 9 on takedowns, while her opponent went 0 for 1 on takedowns and then gave up on takedowns and then continued to just throw strikes and pelt her opponent in the face. I only thought that Talita won 1 round. I truly had that fight 29-28. I don't know, man. And that's me being generous, if I'm being completely honest with you, as you know I like to be. I thought that was not Talita's fight. Even Paul, I think it was Paul the Welder Felder, came off of mute on his mic and was like, I disagree with that decision.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, if you go round by round, right? I mean, it was 34 strikes that Hyena landed against 13 for Talita. So you got to assume she won that round. And then now you go in the second round, it was 32-25 in favor of Mrs. Amanda over here. But
yeah, I didn't even think
Talita did it
close.
a takedown. Yeah, Talita did get a takedown. Maybe that stole that round for her, even though
round 3 is the only round I would give to Lita if I gave her a round. But even in that round, she didn't outland her, even being on top, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So that's tough. And she was 0 for 5 on takedowns. So
come on, folks.
The numbers are not numbering here, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, a win's a win. It was a split decision, so obviously they had a hard time doing it. But yeah, appreciate Average Avenue's inputs here, and appreciate him being around. And shout out Leo Leach as well. What up? Number 5, my favorite number. I see you. But yeah, excited. We're breaking down one championship, PFL. Now we're jumping into these UFC prelims, and started off the night again. A little controversy, I guess you can say, but hey, man, there was still a lot of bangers we were going to cover here. Controversy. All things considered, though,
even though we thought that the judges got it wrong, technically we were wrong. So we do a shot. A bet made, a debt paid.
But this next one, though, no judges necessary. Am I right?
Hoo-wee. I mean, guys, did we say that this was the lock of the week? Or did we say that this was the lock of the week? Come on.
Should put all my unis on that one.
Come on, baby. And Leo Leach, I see you in the chat. You're saying I owe you a fight. I will definitely fight you on EA UFC 5. Maybe not after this episode because I will be intoxicated. We do have more shots to do for sure. But maybe I will. Who knows? Fuck it. We'll jump on there, brother.
Maybe.
We'll go hands.
Here we go.
Maybe striking only with the level of intoxication.
Nice.
So jumping into this next fight, we had Tatsuro Taira coming in against Carlos Hernandez. Folks, this was a hell of a fight. Nano, I definitely have thoughts on this one, so I'm going to let you take the lead, my guy. Hot Mike, what do you got?
Let's go. I'll just throw my 2 cents in here. I feel like I've been on my soapbox today. I'm going to let the MMAnomaly give his no-filter review on our boy, Tatsuro Taira. Another strong performance, man. I mean, I want to just say just domination, right? For the 2 rounds that it lasted. I mean, homeboy on the other side here maybe landed a strike or 2, I guess. I mean, basically threw up a goose egg, and Tatsuro threw a no-hitter here. It was a fantastic performance. Exactly what we thought was going to happen. He is who we thought he is. And sky's the limit for this kid, man. He's a dog. I'm excited to hear your breakdown, brother, and what you think's next for him.
He's an absolute dog. Leo Leach 5 in the chat saying it. Tatsuro Taira is a dog. Deserves a ranked matchup. 100% agree with you, my guy. Average Avenue's 11 in the chat saying give Taira someone in the top 15 next. Folks, you're here for the right reason. You are here for the right episode. That's actually what we do on our Monday episodes, is for the biggest winners. We like to typically pick out who it is on the tip of our tongue that we think should really be next. Now, when we're talking about this fight here, folks, come on. There was an over 200% differential in strikes. You know I'm a big numbers guy, being in marketing outside of this, right? So, like, come on. A 200% fucking differential? Come on. Ridiculous, bro. You're talking literally 200 times the strikes, basically. I mean, 2 to 44 landed here, guys. It wasn't even... it wasn't even competitive. Tatsuro Taira went out there and straight up bullied this young man for 2 rounds. 1 knockdown, that's all it took. 44 total strikes landed out of 60. Man is a sniper, okay? Landing at a 73.3% clip. And mind you, with the significant strikes, he only attempted 43, but he landed 33 of those, landing at a 76.7% fucking clip. Come on. His poor opponent only managed to throw a whopping 4 strikes. I genuinely felt bad for the young man. Tatsuro Taira, folks, is 100% that guy, and he is a problem. He is a problem for the flyweight division, and I think he put everybody on blast. I truly think that, goddamn, as much as I don't want to say a name like this, I think that we got to give him possibly somebody like a Matt Schnell. I love Matt Schnell. He's one of my favorite fighters. I've watched him since the MTV Caged days. man, I just feel like that fight is a fucking banger. And you know I'm going to lose money on Matt Schnell on that night.
I love it, brother. I love it. I mean, man, you know, that is a great matchup. And hey, you're skyrocketing him up, not just in the top 15, not just in the top 10. You have him all the way to 8. Okay. I like it, brother. I like it. And there's a lot to be said there, right? I mean, he is that talented. I mean, God, he's still so young, right? At 23 years old. Maybe I want to see him go up against another young buck there, another 23-year-old, another 2000s baby that's actually sitting right behind your boy Matt Schnelly. I'm talking about 2 undefeated stars colliding here. I'm talking about a Muhammad Mokaev, who just beat Tim Elliott, who just got to win the same card. Come on, baby. Put that in there. UFC 300. Any pay-per-view coming up, that is pay-per-view worthy. Main event worthy. Sign me up for that one.
You and Leo Leach hitting the hive mind right now in the chat. Leo Leach 5 said, give Tyra the number 9 ranked. I'm not typing the name because I will spell it wrong. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fight fans of all shapes, size, and ages, you know who Leo Leach 5 was talking about. He was talking about Muhammad Mokaev. He's talking about the same guy that my guy, the co-host with the most, Nano, Jive Turkey here, was talking about. I'm not mad at that. I'm definitely not mad at that. But at the same time, yeah, you know, I'm just not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. I'm actually very happy about that. Let's do that.
I'm very happy about it.
Sign me up. I'm happier about that than I am about Matt Schnell, because I really like Matt Schnell. I also like Muhammad Mokaev. Man, I don't know who I'd go for in that fight.
And I don't know if that's beneficial to square them off together, but that's a great narrative, right? If you want, if you need a filler card for 300, if you need to fill a card like UFC 300 or an upcoming UFC pay-per-view, those are 2 great names. I mean, great story that you could build around.
Muhammad Mokaev versus Tatsuro Taira, filler card, bro?
I meant to fill a card. My bad. They need to be on a card. I had too much caffeine today.
That brings me into my next topic here before we leave this fight, folks. Can we get this kid off the early prelims?
Yeah, he's ready for a main card or a pay-per-view. I think, you know, we always talk about a couple of different things, right? Is this fighter worthy of a top 15 guy? He checks that box, right? And then next is, hey, is he worthy of a main card or a pay-per-view? I mean, with that record and at this age, and again, if you put him up against a Muhammad Mokaev, I mean, that is a great story that you can sell. 2 undefeated studs at 23. It's almost like a Dustin Connor in the early days, right? Or a Max Holloway and Connor, or a Max and anybody at that stage. But, you know, 2 stars colliding, brother. Sign me up.
100%. Leo Leach just asked in the chat if we're doing predictions for UFC 296 on this stream. Not on this episode, but we are going to be doing those on the Wednesday episode. So definitely make sure you tune into that, because that is a stacked card. Moving into this next one, we got women's bantamweight Luana Santos coming in against Stephanie Egger. Folks, we got it right. Who's shocked? Not me. Come on, folks. You already know. That was Money in the Bank. I thought Luana Santos was going to come up there and do the damn thing. She came out there, she did the damn thing. Again, I thought this was a fight where it was relatively close. I thought it was 2-1 as far as the rounds go in favor of Luana Santos. I thought the judges got it right. Don't necessarily think we need to play matchmaker for this. I wasn't supremely impressed by this one, but I am stoked to get into the next one. Nano, you have any notes on this one?
Oh, my computer froze a little bit there. Nothing really more than you elaborated on, brother. It was a toss-up. I definitely was nervous about how the results were going to go. Especially after the earlier fight, I wasn't too sure if Luana won it. She definitely fought well, but not great. But she did have a tough opponent in front of her. That was a legitimate bantamweight, legitimate opponent. So she did call out Miesha Tate. I think that's interesting. That might be too big of a leap for her at this stage in her career. She is also, I believe, 23 or 24 years old. Still a bit green on the gills there. Hey, I mean, call your shot. You know, maybe that'll age well if she can maybe win another fight here. And maybe somebody there in the top 15. I mean, Julia Avila just lost to Miesha Tate, and she's sitting at 13. Not that I think she should fight her. Not saying that. But anybody in that top in the top 15 range. I mean, why not, right? That's a way in. Spice up the division a little bit. Get some youth in there. So, and she called out Misha. I mean, she must be eyeing it, right? You don't make that call out unless you're ready to wrestle, or I guess maybe try to get some notoriety. But I like it. I like her heads.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. If we did want to play matchmaker, I'd probably play the cupcake game. I think Misha Tate's probably a safe bet for that one. Why not? Why not? And I also don't think that Cupcake is in a vast place to say no to very many fights. Yeah, man.
I don't think she'd want to fight down though either. Unranked opponent. I don't think
she'd want to fight down, but I think that if they offered her a contract at the same price tag they paid her for her last fight for, she'd probably say yes to Luana Santos because she knows that's a very winnable fight for her.
You throw us this bone, we'll give you a title shot next or something, I guess.
Exactly.
Maybe.
You scratch my back kind of situations. Speaking of these types of situations, we got to move into the next one. Man, my guy. I think you have a shot to do because you look like you need some milk. You know what I'm saying?
I dig it. Well, that milk's expired, brother, unfortunately.
Bad jokes all day here on the MMAnomaly Show. No filter, folks.
In typical milk fashion, great on the first round, but not good if you leave it out and it's, a second round. It's not good anymore.
He left it out too long, man. It started to expire.
Milk was not a good choice.
Milk was a bad choice. And as usual, we can't let you take a
shot alone. I appreciate that, brother.
A shot alone, So hey, the cork on this damn Japanese whiskey was fighting back, my guy. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I think I have a. Yep. I got you, bro. I was ready. It was fighting back. So Steve Garcia. Every time I say the name Garcia, what am I drinking? I am drinking Hatazaki Japanese whiskey because I had to pick this up in honor of the card and me betting on both Japanese and Chinese fighters. I don't know if there's any good Chinese whiskeys. And if there is, please, for the love of God, send them in the chat. I will pick it up. I like whiskey.
Sign me up as well.
Yeah, sign me up. I've been a big fan of Japanese whiskey recently. I originally was a big fan of Irish whiskey. Big Irish guy. Oh, man, Leo. Our guy Leo's getting hit by the ads. It happens. It happens on Twitch. But that's okay. We don't mind ads. We appreciate the ads because that's how.
I mean, we're basically doing an ad now on our
we are literally doing an ad right now on our whiskeys.
You're not missing much, Leo. You're just missing an ad on our favorite whiskeys that we're drinking. But yeah, we got the Japanese whiskey, or is it Chinese? You said, or is it Japanese?
It's Japanese.
Japanese, solid. And I just got the American Four Roses here, single barrel whiskey. It's the way I like it, baby. Simple. Classy.
So, yeah, I don't know if there are any good Chinese whiskeys, but if there are, please send them my way. We will definitely sample that stuff.
Cheers to good whiskey.
Again, cheers to good whiskey, man. Yeah, let's hit it. Cheers, brother.
Another one. You might need that, honestly, but what a fight, right? I mean, we knew it was gonna be fireworks from the jump. It's exactly what we got in that first round. Milky looked smooth, like a nice tall warm glass, not warm, but it's a nice tall glass of milk with some warm cookies. Oh, it was that good, right? On a nice winter night, just like it is thus now. I mean, don't get much better, right? That first round was sweetness. I mean, 2 out of 9 takedowns. Obviously, we knew what his game plan was, and he was persistent. He was beating up on our boy, Steve Garcia. But boy, oh boy, did Steve Garcia come back with a vengeance in that second round. Just had that inner dog in him. That junkyard dog, brother. Yeah, I mean, elaborate on what impressed you with our boy Steve Garcia. That was a banger of a fight. So I'm just gonna, call some people out, not by name, obviously, because that's not what we do here. But there were a number of people on Twitter and across the webs, the interwebs, keyboard warriors as they are, talking shit, saying that they think I was wrong on that pick and that Steve Mean Machine Garcia doesn't have that dog in him. Folks, I heard the same shit last week about one of the 2 guys that got a slam knockout. Okay.
So I don't want to hear it. Okay, you can just rewind with that shit. Because Steve the Mean Machine Garcia is the fucking man. Okay, the guy's an absolute beast. He hit them elbows, and it was disgusting. He set him up very nicely. The just sliced right across the top. It was disgustingly quick, and he was setting it up, folks. He was setting it up. He was throwing nice short shots, fighting like an absolute dog. People told me across the interwebs, as I said, for the last few days, for the last almost week, Steve Garcia, he got that dog in him. When he gets hurt, he gets hurt, and he's exciting. But when push comes to shove, he'll break. He ain't got that dog in him. But I kid you not. Just like when you grab a seashell, you put your ear up to it, and you can hear the sea. I put my ear up to the TV, and I kid you not, this is what I heard. That's the sound of Steve Garcia fight, folks. And that's the sound of that dog in him, because he got it. He got that dog in him. Steve Garcia is an absolute stud. You know he's able to take a beating and give it right back. But folks, that milk must have been expired, because he only dealt 20 total strikes, and only 6 of them were significant. Meanwhile, boy, he ate a whopping 41 strikes, and 29 of them, almost 30 of them, were significant. So, come on, man. As Nano so eloquently said, someone left that milk sitting out too long. You hate to see it. He also went 2 for 10 on takedowns. And this is what I love to see here. This is why I love people like Steve Garcia. You ready for this, Nano? This is a fun fact. This is a really fun fact. I don't know if you know about this, but it was a fun fact. Steve Garcia, okay, he got taken down. He attempted. Let me just look up this stat real quick. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he attempted 0 takedowns. His opponent attempted 10. Do you know how many submission attempts his opponent went for? Since he's the grappler, going for 10 takedowns. Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Guess. I see you, motherfucker.
As I'm quickly trying to type. You got me. I got. Got my hand on cookie jar. Talk to me. Lay it on me.
How many would you guess? If I tell you he shot 10 takedowns, how many do you think he attempted as far as submissions go?
At least 2 or 3, right? Maybe
Average
4.
Avenue's 11 throwing you a goddamn lifeline in the freaking chat here. 0, bro. Now let me throw a little conundrum, a little pinwheel at you, a little fork in the road at you. My gosh, bro. When I'm looking for logic when it comes to this, I'm seriously saying, where are you? Because the guy who shot 0 takedowns actually went for a submission over the guy who shot 10. You're the more active grappler. You are the grappler. And yet I'm the guy that's trying to actively hurt you. I like Milk. This just was not his best performance. I thought he had an off night. And I thought Steve had a really fucking on night, right? He as Average Avenues 11 said, I actually missed this in the chat. Hold up, folks. I am so sorry I missed this in the chat. Steve Garcia had dude wrestling the ref. He did. He hit him so hard the dude tried to wrestle the ref when he was getting up.
That's how you know he got him good.
Dude, that's a solid hit. You've heard me say this probably on one of the many BART rides that we shared back in the Yelp work days. That's what it looks like when the brain backfires. The brain is sending signals and synapses that just aren't coming back. It's just error 404, file not found. So honestly, like you're sending signals to the brain. The brain's like, where are you? I'm going to overuse that sound clip so much.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. I'm so happy you picked it up. My guy.
I was ready. I'm ready.
Co-host with the most.
Whoa, that was cool.
You know I stay ready, my friend.
So yeah, Mean Machine is an absolute stud. I feel like I kind of stole your thunder there and kind of going off the bat that last fight on who I think they should face. So do you have any names on the tip of your tongue for young Garcia?
Oh, brother. I mean, again, extremely impressive performance. Definitely has that dog in him, and I think he proved that to the UFC. I'm curious. I mean, one thing we always ask on this show is, hey, is he ready for a top 15 guy? Now, we're talking about a division that's probably the most stacked, in my opinion, right? We're talking about the lightweight division. Do I think he's ready? I mean, you tell me, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like he is, right? I mean, it's hard to deny him that at this point. I mean, after that kind of performance, to be able to weather that kind of storm, you look at the bottom of the division, there's some guys that are coming off losses. There are still some savages. I mean, I guess the only name you could maybe really entertain here potentially is maybe a Drew Dober. Red Rover, send a Drew Dober on over. It's a bad matchup for Garcia, but
this is literally why I don't ever let you lead anymore. I swear to fucking God, bro.
Still the thunder.
So I don't have Drew Dober written down by himself. I literally have loser of Drew Dober versus Renato Moicano, because that just got scheduled, I think, yesterday or day before.
Oh shoot. Okay, here we go. But yeah, I take that back.
Yeah, Money Moicano versus Drew Dober just got scheduled. It's happening February 3rd at the Apex.
In February.
UFC Fight Night 235.
Interesting.
Yeah, Money Moicano. Moicano wants money.
Hell yeah. Then I mean, unless it's a really fun one. Unless maybe you look at it like maybe it's like a contender eliminator fight, right? Maybe it's another person that's knocking on that door. Because again, this division is just stacked, brother. I mean, there's people that aren't even in the top 15 anymore that you could still argue are deserving or are capable. Someone else that might be coming off a win as well. I don't have any other names, unfortunately. Again, it's such a stacked division. I mean, and Steve Garcia is an absolute dog. So I think get him in there as soon as possible. Or if we have to wait until, maybe the winner of one of those two, then so be it. But I'm sure he might want to be active, right? He may take any fight that comes up or that comes his way. But there certainly are a lot of good, fights for him in this division. And he earned every bit of that to be in the conversation now. So excited to see what's next for our boy Steve Garcia. Oh, I see the lips moving.
My bad. I did the double mute again. Fucking Christ. I literally saw a meme. I think it was either today or yesterday. And it was new podcaster to old podcaster, like the shave faced versus like the facial hair, like older guy meme. It's like the older facial hair guy versus the shaved face guy. And it's all new podcaster that's been going for years. Hey, at what point do you stop forgetting that you double muted yourself on the mic? And it's just the fucking stone face guy just looking at him with like no quote in the next one. Dude, it's too good.
That's too much. It's so accurate, though.
It's so fucking accurate, bro.
Bear with us, ladies and gents.
Because to do the soundboard, I got to mute myself on the mic, but not on the actual stream. And then when I'm doing things in the background, I don't want things to bleed through, so I mute myself on both. It's a fucking thing, dude. But you know what? Point deducted from me. So it is what it is. Again, I just think Drew Dober versus Renato Moicano, which I think a lot of people don't realize that his actual last name is not Moicano, it's Conero. Moicano's his nickname. But anyways, I digress. Or maybe it's his middle name. You got me fucked up. But either way, the loser of that fight makes the most sense to go against this young man, Steve Main Machine Garcia, to be the litmus test for whether or not he is a top 15 fighter in the UFC. Moving into this next one, folks, we had Park Hyun-sung coming in against Shannon Ross. My guy. I told you Shannon was going down. Okay.
Yeah, we knew that. We knew that, huh?
We knew that. But I think this is one that like we couldn't come to a very solid decision on. So I think we maybe took the over 2.5 on this one, or the over 1.5 on this one. Sorry, and I was sweating bullets in that first round. Not gonna lie to you, Hyun Sung Park. He was out there just slanging and banging and slanging. You know what I'm saying? Man, he was throwing that leather. He was definitely throwing that leather. It was nice to see. He was a beast up there.
Yeah, he looked angry. He looked angry.
He did. You know what's crazy is if you look at the strike numbers on paper, this is one of those fights, and we go over this. I feel like not every week, right? But maybe like once a month, we have this conversation where it's like, let me pull up Average Avenues 11 because this is a very appropriate tweet here. The math isn't mathing, right? Like you look on paper and you're like, but this doesn't look right. This isn't what I saw on TV. And I watched it twice. Like I went back and watched some of these fights twice. This was one of them because I watched it and I was like, one-way traffic, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Fatality.
He's done. And then I looked at the stats and I was like, what? That's weird. I don't remember being that close. 65 to 61 total strikes landed. 50 to 47 significant. Is that for real? And then I went back and watched it and I was like, I mean, like Shannon Ross was landing, but I just don't feel like a lot of those strikes were significant. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe the statisticians got this one wrong a little bit. Poquito.
Yeah.
Hyun Sung Park impressed me. The kid came into this 8-0 and he walked out of this 9-0. His opponent has as many losses as he has wins, and the kid has 0 losses. So, absolute stud, absolute beast. What's next for him? That's tough. I'm not gonna play matchmaker for this kid. I feel like he's too new to the division, and also I feel like again he didn't necessarily deserve to be higher than Tatsuro Taira versus Carlos Hernandez on this card, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel that. It's hard to play matchmaker sometimes here when they're unranked. He's still a bit green around the gills. That's my expression for the night. Just a bit too new.
Sorry, I gotta call attention to Average Avenues. He said Ross was doing well before he got stopped, and then he said again in the chat, "Well-ish."
Yeah, good. Correction there. Way to check yourself before you wreck yourself. No, honestly, he had moments. I mean, the strikes, obviously, the numbers don't lie, right? But I think it's important to factor in here. And again, it's worth watching, maybe even rewatching. But the moral of the story is not all strikes are created equally, right? That's why there's significant strikes. That's why maybe even just actually using the eyeball test is sometimes better than trying to just read the numbers. Because if I were to jump in here and have not watched the fight, I could easily try to make a case. Hey, you know what? I mean, Shannon had his moments. If he didn't get knocked out, he was on his path to victory. But it's like really when you're watching it, it didn't feel that way at all. It felt like what you mentioned, one-way traffic. Park was hungry, motivated, and wanted to get him out of there, and just put together a really good combination, ripped the body, then went upstairs and put him out of there, which was, fun to watch. And he won Performance of the Night for a reason because he definitely performed. But he did have a good dance partner there in Shannon Ross. It just felt like, and easier for me to say here as someone that's never stepped foot in the octagon, but it just felt like Shannon Ross was almost like sparring. It almost felt like he went in, didn't have that extra edge that his opponent had. And maybe it's an off night, maybe something he might have felt in there, or just wasn't able to maybe completely turn it on. Or, I mean, hey, a lot of things factor in as to why, right? I mean, it's not just the physical game, there's the mental game to it. All things considered, though, didn't do enough to get the victory. And, great performance, and shout out, for the fight of the night here and performance in the night, in Hyun Sung Park. Sky's the limit for the kid. Uh-oh, are you double muted again? Are we back at it again? Back at it again? This is no filter, y'all.
Oh my gosh. All right, we're back here, folks. Happens to the best of us. You know what it is. It's because I'm sitting here thinking about my joke, and I thought it was a really good joke. I was gonna say, it's just like music, sometimes there's a sad song and sometimes there's a happy song. And this next one we had a sad song.
I love the accent too. That really adds to it.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that has to do with either of these guys or their nationality, to be completely honest with you. But here we are talking about the sad song, Song Kanon. Dude, like, I don't know what happened to me. I don't know why I was so hype on this guy. I was like, he's going to get it done for sure, man. He's going to finish this deal right now for sure. I know it. I just know it. I thought that betting against Giuseppe was a juicy bet, but it was not, and I'll never forget. I'll tell you this. Giuseppe was the bet that I should have made. It was probably Song that I should have chose to fade. And then it was the money that we would have made. So that's the end of my little Santa Claus fucking night before Christmas rhyme here, folks. Giuseppe, I have to say, has a machine-like jab. Just ooh, do you see that speed though?
Fast.
No, seriously though,
there's no Photoshop. It's not sped up. That's real time. That's real lifetime right there.
It's real time, folks. Giuseppe though, that jab was money, dude. He could actually prove to be a real problem at welterweight for a lot of these other folks. I wasn't a big believer in him before, but man, I was high on him. Oh, Average Avenues 11 knows exactly what happened here. Got to throw it out to the chat here. You were high on him the same reason I was. He dropped Ian Gary. Yeah, he did. He dropped him with I think it was a quick check left hook, just coming in or something. He was like, it was disgusting. It was beautiful. I loved it. You loved it. It's your mom's favorite knockdown from a fight that the guy didn't end up winning. But I digress. Song, I will say, Song looked absolutely amazing in there. Okay? For the last 15 seconds. Actually, no, for the last 5 seconds. The last 5 seconds, the way Song was throwing, my goodness. That's what I wanted to see for the whole motherfucking fight, guys. I just like, come on. The way that he was throwing in there, he was angry. He was hitting Giuseppe like he owed him money. Let's go to the chat real quick. Leo Leach 5 said, stop being a hater of my boo Ian Gary. I'm a wag. Oh my God.
Hey, say it loud and proud, brother.
My goodness. Oh man.
Love it.
He's wagging his thing. I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. You know what else I love is this one thing that I'm going to overuse. Ian Gary's probably looking for the old fans that left him like, where are you? I would like to say I'll stop, but I'm probably not going to. So come on, guys. Kevin Giuseppe is an absolute monster. He was one of the bigger standouts on this card for me. He looked better against that guy than freaking Ian Gary did, in my opinion. And that being said, like, usually we don't play matchmaker for people like this far down on the card or this far down on the rankings. But I got to tell you, I wouldn't be mad at him fighting against, someone right at the edge of the top 15. I don't want to see him fight a top 15 right now, but I wouldn't be mad at him getting like a top 15 contender fight.
I like that. Like a eliminator matchup, right? For someone that's maybe on the doorstep or queued up to go and face one of those top 10 or top 15 guys. Absolutely love that, brother. Yeah, I mean, a lot of excitement in this division right now. This is a big win over a Song Kanon. He's a savvy veteran. He's no slouch. And so certainly you've earned that next step up in competition. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of big names out there. I mean, I'll tell you what, there's somebody
on the tip of my tongue. If you want to hear it.
Dude, too, I'm double checking the rankings. Have they updated already? Is this like the official, or do they update this week again?
This is
okay. Okay.
I think they updated this morning.
Nice. Okay. I feel, dude, 2 guys potentially. I think Michael Chiesa or Neil Magny.
Those are the 2 that I had originally written down, and then I literally scratched them out. And then I wrote down one name. There's only one name that I wrote down after that.
Talk to me. What do you got?
2 with 1, and I feel like it's a better name all around here, guys. Nicholas Danish Dynamite Dalby. You know what it is.
Ooh.
Can we just do it in Brazil? Because that motherfucker's just unbeatable in Brazil. It don't even matter who he's fighting.
And he's not ranked, I don't think, right? So that'd be
He's
for
right
an eliminator, right?
15. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He
Just be Gabriel Bonfim.
I would say he's probably like on the unofficial, like if they did a top 25 rankings, he's probably like a number 16, number 17. He's on the team.
Wish they did that. I wish they did 25 so bad. It just would add to interest, in my opinion. But
same, I completely agree. There's a lot of people that disagree with us on that, though. But those people, with all due respect, can I don't know, go themselves.
Nice. Agreed.
So it's without further ado, with that being said,
It's time!
for the main card, folks, we are jumping right on into it. We got Park Junyoung, aka Junyoung Park, the Iron Turtle, coming in against Andre Muniz. And what I really have to ask you folks is what the fuck were the judges gobbling up? Because
Jive Turkey's out there.
Come on. I disagree with this. I firmly disagree with this decision. I think the Iron Turtle got robbed.
What about all those takedowns? You weren't a fan of the let's see how many he got total. 11 out of 14 takedowns. Andre Muniz.
With 0 submission attempts and 14 significant strikes across a 15-minute fight. No, I was not a fan of the wet blanket approach. Not at all.
It's fair enough.
I'm a big fan of grappling. You know that. Like, I'm not doing it. I fucking hate grappling in person. Big striking fan. You can tell by the hand speed, I fucking hate grappling in person. But watching it, I'm a big fan of. I will never make fun of somebody grappling. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't really anything fun about that grappling. That guy was just wrapping around and not moving. I feel like there were numerous times where that fight could have been stood up, and it was. And he just got another takedown. And I typically will tell you, like, if someone takes you down and you can't get back up, that's on you for not being able to get back up. And that's the case in this one too, to an extent. But we also score fights on damage. And if we're looking at damage, one guy landed twice as many significant strikes. Oh, and he landed like 1.5 times as many total strikes. And that's the mother freaking Iron Turtle, folks. So, like, I'm telling you straight up, those judges were high as a kite. Something was going on in that fight. And at least 2 out of 3 judges had an off night. At least when it came to scoring that fight. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, what were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, you covered all the bases, brother. I mean, yeah, to your point, it obviously was a bit of a lull fest. Yeah, kind of the wet blanket effect here, but by Andre Muniz. He really didn't want to get into a striking match. His striking is subpar, to say the least. He got him to the ground. I guess being the jiu-jitsu guy that he is, you would assume he would have saw at least a few attempts, maybe some serious threats, or using that to get to a favorable position, get some sort of ground to pound, be a little more offensive. But frankly, it was just offensively bad, like both connotations of the word. And yeah, all things considered, I mean, you covered the base as well, brother. Don't really want to play matchmaker for him. I don't think he earned necessarily much more than, I mean, I guess where he's at in the rankings. Maybe dish him another young up and comer and see if he could hang. But I got nothing for him, brother. Andre Muniz, back to the drawing board, brother.
Yes.
Completely agree with that. Back to the drawing board with this guy. I mean, like, he is just man. There's so obviously the show that everybody watches on MMA Fighting on SBN on YouTube is the Helwani Show, without a doubt. But there's another little show on there with Mike Heck and the guys, and sometimes Jose Youngs is on there. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic podcast / like pre-post fight show. A lot of really great takes. Highly recommend it. And those guys were talking about this, and one of their phrases that they have that I really, really like, and I'm probably going to steal from them across the times, is the most middleweight. And I truly think that Andre Muniz is the most middleweight in the world. In like, mind you, it's not a moment, right? It's more of a kind of moment. It gets the double bad horn because it's that bad. Being a middleweight is it's not good. It means that it just doesn't mean great things. And Andre Muniz is a very middleweight. You watch him and you're like, oh wow, he's really good. And then you watch him the next week and you're like, oh, fuck was I thinking? So I don't know. I feel like he's a very middleweight. I don't want to play matchmaker for him, but I'll tell you who I do want to play matchmaker for. The winner of this next fight, folks. Subudarji versus Tim Elliott. My guy, I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one. Yeah, you got a shot to do on this one, huh?
I got a shot to do. I was feeling the Sue. Man. Thought he was gonna be able to get it done, but our boy Tim Elliott, man, just continuing to defy the odds, taking this on short notice. Performance of the night, just proved to be an absolute dog, right? An MMAnomaly, right? At this age, 36 years old. I mean, just a savage, brother. Just an absolute savage, right?
Tim Elliott literally responded to me on Twitter like 5 to 10 minutes before he walked out to the scales on Friday morning.
That's when he did?
Again.
Oh, I didn't realize.
He did it. You were me twice this week.
Yeah, and great lead in there. Huge shout out on that. I don't know if you want to break it down a little bit more or if you have more to say, but dude, I mean, we're the biggest Tim Elliott fans here, brother. If he has any merch, you might need to get a shirt. Cheers to you, Tim.
Also, totally random, unrelated. Well, kind of related. I was chatting on Twitter today, actually, with the dude that played the Frog supervillain in She-Hulk on Disney Plus, the actor, because he posted a thing to his story of him watching the fights on his like iPad or something, and the caption was like, "I'm a simple man to make happy," and I was like, I literally responded to the story and I was like, amazing fights this weekend. Am I right? And he's like, my guy, Tim got it done. I was like, dude, Tim responded to me on Twitter twice this weekend and I squealed like a girl. But literally like amazing. Absolutely amazing. Tim Elliott is an absolute legend, as Average Avenues 11 said in the chat here. And my God, dude. My goodness. Timothy Elliott is just an absolute beast. He took this fight on short notice, very obviously. He took this fight on short notice, and I think he should probably take every fight on short notice, if I'm being honest with you. After seeing this, come on, let's call a spade here, guys. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to make a joke here, but at the same time, sometimes the truth is funny. And this is one of those situations. Here's the thing. How many times have we seen him come in, look good, and then all of a sudden something happens and we hear like, oh, he had an injury in camp that he didn't want to talk about, or he had this going on and he didn't want to pull out. Tim is like an absolute stud. He is a man. He is a man. Man. Like, he's a man. All right. He's a fucking man. He's not going to pull out of a fight if he's hurt. And I think taking fights on short notice means that like he's not training super duper hard. And at this point in his career, he is a stud. Okay. Like, there are a handful of things I say, and I can tell you two of them.
Yeah.
That's one of them. Okay. And the other one is Tim Elliott is a fucking beast. Okay. He is a funky, fresh MMA fighter. And funky fresh to the point to where I literally wrote down, like I brought out the old notepad this week and took notes, folks. And I will be doing this every week because it felt really good to do this. Tim opened up with a rolling front flip to a body kick. Okay. That's the first notes I took. because that's the first thing that happened in this fight. And it was absolutely beautiful to see. Tim Elliott is a stud. And I love to see him get a win over a very game and a very young Sumudarji. I think this dude is an absolute beast. I can't wait to see him in his next fight. He got a beautiful arm triangle finish, put his opponent to sleep. This is the second time I have actually seen Sumudarji be put to sleep, folks. It's not a fun thing to see an opponent or someone do multiple times. And I'll tell you, there's another name on the tip of my tongue since you said Muhammad Makhayev for our guy, our fucking guy. You know what I'm talking about, Tatsuro Taira. I got another name on the tip of my tongue here for Timothy Elliott, and that's Matt Schnell. Since we're not using him for the first fight I had him written down for, I scratched out the original name I had here. I think Matt Schnell makes a lot more sense. He's 2 rankings above Tim Elliott right now. Number 10 versus number 8 makes a whole lot of sense. Both funky fighters that are very, very game and wily. I think that's a fun fight. And I'm fucking here for it, man. I also, one thing I have to point out before I pass it over and tag you in here for the next round of your breakdowns and analysis is this. Absolutely incredible treetop to elbows that led to the finish. Now, the arm triangle was obviously beautiful, right? But a treetop to elbows, just fucking phenomenal. Tree topping is obviously like when you grab the legs and you push up on them and then you push them over and then wow. So he literally tree topped the elbow, beautiful setup, dropped his opponent, set up the arm triangle. Everything was picture perfect. Everything was fucking just clinical. Nano, tagging you in. What were your thoughts?
Hey man, you said it elegantly. I don't think I need to add much more than, yeah, Tim Elliott's an absolute dog. He's a savage. I'm a fan now. He earned my respect. He got my fandom. That's Tim Awkward Elliott here. And yeah, man, I love that call out, Matt and Chanel. I mean, that is a great matchup. You got to reward the kid for going in here, Tim Elliott, and taking this on short notice and putting him out. I mean, that's, yeah, impressive, right? To be able to do that. And there is something too when you get to a certain stage in your career, just like anything, right? I mean, obviously you always want to drill fundamentals. Obviously you always want to make sure that, you know, you keep the skills sharp and that you're doing all the little things right. But as you get older, sometimes that wear and tear, or honestly, ever since Max Holloway said it elegantly about just as you get older, there's no need to do the hard sparring and do all this crazy training. You have all the skills. It's most important to go into the octagon as fresh and as healthy as possible. And let the muscle memory and the skills you've accumulated, you know, if you're in your mid 30s, I mean, we're talking maybe at least 10, maybe 15, 20, heck, maybe some people even 30 years. They might have spent their whole life in some sort of discipline or sports or competition. So all things considered, very impressive performance, man. You got to reward the kid. Love to see him go up in rankings, like you said, like a Matt Schnell and Alex Perez hasn't fought in a while. But, you know, it's interesting enough. I actually looked on Tim Elliott's Instagram real quick just to see if he reposted anything regarding the fight. And he did actually repost Slip Sports MMA for a potential matchup with Tim Elliott versus Steve Earkeg, a.k.a. Astro Boy. Tim Elliott reposted it himself. I mean, I guess he got the stamp of approval that way. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that consolation prize, I guess. I had to shout him out there. And hey, man, he's a fan. He sees us. Maybe we can get him on the pod sometime. Would love that. Tim, if you're hearing this, brother, please, whatever it takes.
You thought I was squealing when he responded to me on Twitter. My goodness. That'd be wild. That would be wild.
We got to shoot our shot, brother. Why not?
Got to shoot our shot, man. You got to start tweeting more yourself. I'm just saying.
Jive Turkey. I'll get out there.
Jive. Start jiving.
I mean, you already built some rapport. Absolutely, brother. You know the vibes.
You know so Tim Elliott, absolutely brilliant win. Love to see it over Sumudarji. And that's not to say I don't love Sumudarji. He's a fantastic fighter. No disrespect whatsoever. Moving into the next fight, talking about disrespect. Shit. I don't know why I bet on Malarkey, dude. What the fuck is wrong with me?
I know. We were feeling the Malarkey, man. That was the one that busted my parlay as well.
Dude, what a bunch of Malarkey.
No, Nasrat's no joke, brother. I think all these years of us calling him the discount Kelvin Gastelum, and I think even Paul Felder made a joke of it during the commentary. But, you know, gotta put some respect on the kid's name.
Young
That's
Kelvin
right.
Gastelum. Man, my goodness.
But man,
That's
what a
wild.
stud. He looked good out there, brother.
He looked fantastic. He looked absolutely fantastic. Average
Yeah,
Avenue said both my fellow Aussies got smoked. Oh my gosh. My gosh. Average Avenue's 11 is Australian. I love it. Dude, I love that. Average
Were
Avenue's
you
11.
all saying were you all saying Ernu?
Ernu.
Ernu.
Dude, especially since you're Australian and I love a good accent, gotta have you send in a video or even just an audio clip of you making your picks for the MMA Anomaly Awards that are coming up at the end of December here.
Let's go, which is quick. It's a couple weeks away.
A shout out to your Bink.
Cheers
My
to the
goodness.
Aussies. And I guess I'm technically doing a shoey. Come out. It's a shot shoey. And I don't put this on my foot, but my shot glass has a boot on it. So quick shout out. And shout out
What's
Eric. We
that
see you in the
about?
chat too, brother. Was that a boot?
What's that about? Hmm?
It's a boot, Newton.
Yee. Oh, let's go. Leo just joined us on the YouTube too. Let's go, Leo. My guy, I appreciate you. The double tune. The double
Yes,
tune
we're on
in.
both. We are on both, brother. Whatever tickles your fancy. All platforms.
You already know, baby. We do it both. We do it both here. Nasrat Hopcross is what we're talking about right now, though. He had 2 knockdowns and a very, very short fight that only lasted 1 minute and 44 seconds long. Took 18 strikes total to knock down his opponent twice. Mind you, of those 18 strikes, my God, over 90% of them were significant because, folks, 16 of them out of 18 were significant. That's a hella high percentage there, folks. And that's why he got it done. Everything he was throwing had venom on it. Everything he was throwing had ill intentions attached to it. And everything he was throwing just about was landing. Landed at a 58.1% clip, 55.2% clip if you're talking about significant strikes. Meanwhile, his opponent, I mean, he did what he could. He really did what he could. But I mean, what are you going to do when you have a southpaw versus orthodox? That southpaw left hand just came right around the guard and melted Malarkey, who then proceeded to eat 137 follow-up strikes before the ref stopped it. I mean, the Malarkey's brain was just on autopilot, eating those strikes, looking around for a referee to save his life. Like, where are you? No, I literally, I don't know if it's even going to show up in the video only version, but I wrote down that Malarkey then proceeded to eat 137 follow-up strikes with my second grader handwriting there. Yeah, it obviously was not 137 follow-up strikes, but it was a lot of follow-up strikes. And it obviously, like, and correct me if I'm wrong here on this, Nano, please, as always, no filter. Please don't hold back. But I'd like to think that when I was watching that, it felt a lot like an old Pride fight. Like, you know, when they would just hold each other's head, just clack, clack, clack.
Yes.
Like,
Old
he had
school.
Malarkey just in all kinds of Malarkey, holding his head with one hand, just blap, 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 just beating the shit out of him. It was disgusting to watch. Man, what were your thoughts on that fight? And what is next for Nasrat?
Brother, I mean, you broke it down perfectly. I mean, and yeah, it was a short fight. Not much to say. I mean, I can take 18 seconds breaking it down because that was basically all the punches that he was landing on our boy Malarkey here. But yeah, I think what's next is, yeah, he's got to be itching for the top 15 as well. He's been around the UFC for a while. It's been a little bit tumultuous early in his career, which it's tough, man. If you get in young, it's hard to go undefeated, right? Nobody's Khabib. There's only one of them. So all things considered, I do think that, sorry, my shot was disagreeing with me there, but man, I think you got to reward the kid. He got performance of the night. Is impressive. That's what he did to Jamie Malarkey as well. But there is a name that's right outside the top 15 that I think would make a fun contender eliminator. I'm looking at a Joel Alvarez and El Fenomeno. Dude's a stud, and he's a DBZ fan. Might have to go Super Saiyan on him, but that's a fun strikers matchup right there. Winner gets a crack at top 15. Talk to me.
Well, I don't have a Dragon Ball Z specific sound effect queued up, so I'll just say, so I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think that's probably a really solid fight for him. I think it does make a lot of sense. At the same time, we're talking about a dude that fought Islam Makhachev on short notice and went the distance with him. That Islam couldn't finish. We're talking about a guy that is always down to fucking bang. I mean, actually, no, I'm thinking of a different guy.
No, I was gonna say, I was thinking of someone else.
It was Arman Sarukian. I'm thinking about fucking Arman Sarukian.
I thought you say Bobby Green. I was like, hold on here.
No, I was thinking of Arman Sarukian. My goodness,
the shots are catching up, brother. The shots are catching up.
No, it's not even the shots. It's just me. No,
classic brain fart.
What's funny is he looks like Kelvin, but I'm confusing him with someone else. Not even close. No, he's fought people like John Makdessi. He did fight Bobby Green. He did fight Dan Hooker. Both those guys fought Islam Makhachev. I don't know. I mean, he also fought Drew Dober, who fought Islam Makhachev. So by the rule of three, he's also fought Islam Makhachev. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'm wrong. I gave up. No, but seriously, Nasrat Hopcross is an absolute beast. He has faced a lot of beasts as well. And now here's the crazy thing. Of the 4 men that have actually beaten him in the UFC, you're actually going to love this. Nano. It's almost like I made that mistake from the very beginning on purpose so that I could segue and set up that entire joke. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
I knew it was going to come back full circle.
That fought Islam Makhachev that he has also fought with the only other 3 people he's lost to.
Let's go. A little foreshadowing right there, brother.
Come on, bro. You thought I really fucked that up? Really? Come on. No, seriously. So Nasrat has 4 losses in the UFC. Marcin Hell, Drew Dober, Dan Hooker, Bobby Green. 3 out of 4 of those guys fought Islam Makhachev and lost to him. So, yeah. That guy's an absolute beast. The people that he's lost to, they're studs, right? He lost to Dan Hooker in 2021, and like realistically, I feel like that loss is pretty solid because that was like before the loss to Islam Makhachev and Arnold Allen, where he just got pelted. So that was a better version of Dan Hooker. That was Dan Hooker coming directly off of Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler, which Michael Chandler, I feel like, got very lucky over that Dan Hooker. Nasrat is an absolute beast. Who do I think should be next for him, though? There's a reason I made the mistake that I made in the beginning of this breakdown, and that's because I think Arman Sarukian is the next guy to fight him. I was accidentally confusing him with Arman Sarukian because I think that that's the best matchup for him. They have very similar fight styles, right? It was no accident that I confused them. They fight very, very similar. Arman Sarukian does have power in those hands. He's got lead for hands. But he oftentimes, more often than not, likes to utilize the grappling and lean in on technique rather than power. However, when he does like to lean in on that power and utilize the power versus the kind of technique and speed, what we end up seeing is what we saw in Nasrat Hopcross on Saturday night over his opponent in Jamie Malarkey. So I do think that Nasrat versus Arman Sarukian makes the most sense. And I also think that that would be a fight where I might actually stay away from it as far as betting lines go, just because it's probably going to be a very close fight.
Oh, I would take Sarukian all day on that one. That's a tough one, brother. It's one of those because Arman, if you're Arman Sarukian, right, you just came off an impressive performance. You beat a Beneil Dariush, who at one point had the longest win streak in the division. He went up 4 spots to now being ranked 4th. If you're Arman, do you really want to take an unranked Nasrat? That's a tough one. I do also want to add, like we mentioned, those 3 losses. All 3 of those guys are on the road from the top 15 up to Arman. I don't know if the UFC likes doing rematches that aren't like for a title match, but maybe you give Nasrat the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you try to match him up and try to help him avenge one of his losses to a Drew Dober, a Bobby Green, both sitting at 15 or 14, which makes sense since he's not ranked yet. Dan Hooker's at 9. I don't necessarily love that. I think Dan's, see why his benefit in taking that. Benoit's sitting there. I think he needs a dance partner. But Arman, I feel like he's eyeing Islam, and he's eyeing the big three or the big four that are right there and within striking distance, right? I mean, Charles, Justin, Dustin, Chandler, if Connor doesn't come back, Gamrot's up there. I mean, if you're Arman, he's probably saying, come on, man. Get this guy out of here. Who is this? Who the fuck is that guy? But no, that'd be a fun matchup. Honestly, it'd be a fun matchup. Nasrat definitely deserves to get somebody in the top 15. I could see them trying to help him avenge one of those 3 losses. Again, 3 of those opponents are ranked, but give him somebody ranked. Give him someone with a number.
Someone with a number makes sense. That's for sure. If not Arman Sarukian, if you don't want to move him that far up that fast, Mateos Camro, Rafael Faziev, not Jalen Turner, because you said that very impressive.
Faziev is going to be out for a little bit because of the injury too. Faziev did tear his ACL or tore his knee up against Gamrot. So he
Benoit St. Denis.
That'd be a fun one. Benoit Saint-Denis.
All right, man. Hey, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad about it.
Speaking of Saint Denis, we got to talk about our boy with an impressive performance, Khalil Roundtree. Sheesh.
Khalil Roundtree. So how did you just say his name one more time?
Khalil Roundtree.
Khalil. There you go. Not Khalil.
I tried. Khalil.
Yes. Not Khalil. Not Khalil. Not Khalil. Khalil. Which I was today years old when I learned that.
Shout out John Anik and Florian, the boys. But yeah, definitely just found that out as well. So we got to get it right. Got to come correct.
Khalil Roundtree, man. My guy got it done. He's an absolute monster. He's an absolute beast. I'm going to let you take the lead on this because I actually have some really, really fun. I have a fun stat on this one. I don't know if you have it or not. If you have this stat, I'd be upset.
Is it something about his knockouts? How he's like, I think third.
Fuck.
It is a great stat, bro. That was probably the only one. Stat, dude. I'll let you take it. I won't go there. I mean, my 2 cents here. I was very impressed with Khalil Roundtree's performance. I mean, dude, we knew going into it, he throws nothing but absolute 100% power and leather. And we knew that, Anthony Smith, what version are we going to see? And it felt like early on, it just, the heart wasn't in it, man. And honestly, at this age and this much damage he's taken, it's tough to see him going up against a younger, more hungry, and just a dude with heavy hands. I mean, the way he went out was tough to watch. I mean, it's like even seeing Lionheart talk about after, like, just, bumping the road, future champ, still chucking along. I'm just like cringing in my back of my head, man. Like, just as a fan, like knowing you have a podcast, like you're literally one of the better UFC analysis, like color commentary. Maybe you could do, the actual sidelines with John Anik and whoever. Like, he has that kind of pedigree. He's smart. He's good at talking. But I think the UFC fighting, man, I think those days are very, very shortly numbered. The days are dwindling down for our boy Anthony Lionheart Smith, in my opinion. I mean, the only caveat here is that the light heavyweight division just doesn't have much going on right now, which does also help Khalil Roundtree, who's ranked 11th. Anthony's at 8. I wonder if that's going to change anytime soon. If it does not, I think you still give Khalil the benefit of the doubt. He even got the attention of the champion, Alex Bejeda, who said, hey, that was a great fight, great performance. That's probably too high, but I will tell you what, man. I mean, if you're Khalil, I mean, why not? I like Nikita Krylov, honestly, or fuck, dude, maybe a Yuri. Yuri's got to get back in there eventually. Maybe you give him against Yuri. That's a fun striking matchup. But what are your thoughts on the fight? What do you think about Khalil's performance? Obviously, how hard this guy punches. What do you think about Lionheart? Give me your breakdown, brother. And tell me that badass stat that you had queued up. I know I referenced it a little bit there. I was teasing a little bit, but don't leave the people waiting too long for that too.
I appreciate you saving that stat for me. And that stat is the fact that post Saturday night, Khalil Roundtree is now the third highest ranked as far as total knockouts in the light heavyweight division of the UFC in its entirety. Only outclassed and surpassed by Chuck the Iceman Liddell and Shogun Rua. Come on, folks. Like Mauricio Shogun Rua and Chuck Liddell, if those are the only two people ahead of you in knockouts in the division, you know you're doing something right. And you also know probably on the right path to be a future champion, which leads me into the chat here with Leo, Brian Leach, who says, I think Roundtree is a future champion. I completely agree, my friend. I do as well. I think he's a major problem for the light heavyweight division. I think that Muay Thai style, which you know I'm a big fan of, throwing in the clinch, the way that he throws, like, I mean, you can see everything about the power that he throws and when he misses. And like the way that he like raised that hand behind him, like the hand wasn't a threat to his opponent so much as it was a threat or a warning to the ref. He wasn't threatening to hit Anthony Smith. He was showing his hand to the ref by way of, or by means of saying, if you don't stop this, I'm going to do irrevocable damage to this young man's future. I will take years off of his life. I will ruin his ability to be a father in the future. Like, so many things that everything negative that you could think of, that's what was going to come from this. Just truly brilliant stuff to witness as an MMA fan and as a UFC fan and as just a Khalil Roundtree fan, as someone who's watched him since the beginning of his UFC career and even before then. It's phenomenal to watch. I can't wait to see what's next for him. And if I'm being completely real with you, if I'm being completely honest with you, as you know, that's the only thing I know how to do. The guy was number 11 and he went out there and just demolished number 8. Number 7's not ready for a title shot. Number 8 isn't either. Number 6 isn't. Number 5 isn't. Number 4 isn't. Number 3 isn't. Number 2 just had one. I'm saying you match him up against Yuri Prokaska.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot, brother. Send Khalil to the top, man. He's extremely talented. He's tough. And he's a great example. Because, you know, I mean, obviously it's like we talk about power. We talk about that knockout capability. You reference the stat. That's badass, right? That's not a fluke. And I want to specify with Khalil, he's evolved his game to get to this point. Like there was a point a few years ago, I remember us chatting about it, when he came back from Thailand and he had this lighter stance, a Muay Thai sort of striking style, and wowed us. Had some, you know, turbulence along the way, but you're still getting those tools together. And what I wanted to say was it feels like he's a perfect example of strength. Like you look at him, he looks physically strong, but he also has the skill, and that combination is a deadly one. That's what puts people into the shadow realm, right? Not just flash knockout, not just knock it down and I need to pour more on. It's like he puts one on you and you get knocked the fuck out. Chris Tucker, Smokey style in Friday in the movie, if you've seen that, a little reference there. You got knocked the fuck out, man.
You got knocked the fuck out, man. Completely agree. Like I just feel like Yuri Prokaska versus Khalil Roundtree Jr. is a striker's delight, as we like to say here on the show. It's just as fun of a fight as fights can get. And I'm here for it. Sign me up, folks. That was the co-main event of the evening. And I thought arguably that should have probably been the main event of the evening. I thought that was arguably the best fight of the night. Man, in this next fight, you had Song Yadong Song versus Chris Gutierrez. Were you riding on Chris Gutierrez on this one?
El Guapo? Absolutely not, brother. I think we knew what Yadong song was going to do. Yeah, no. I mean, I love El Guapo. I knew his best path to victory was to stay on the outside and try to use the leg game to his advantage, to cripple his opponent, to take out the tires. But he did not have an answer for Song Yadong. I mean, any way you slice it, brother, and I'm curious to hear your breakdown. I'll just quickly give my 2 cents. I mean, you look at the striking differential. You look at, obviously, the 2 takedowns, which were really the big differentiator. And then, obviously, Song Yadong, just not, I would say good, not great, right? There were moments where maybe you would have wanted to see a little bit more aggression. You would have wanted maybe to see the flashy knockout, which we all do, right? Especially after that co-main event. You're hoping for some of that again. But I would just say overall, he fought a really good, technically sound fight, which is what you expect from the kid. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And that's where he is in his career. Like, he's at a point now where, okay, you can't, even if you're not going to wow the crowd, maybe you're not, going to be a fan favorite, which not everyone can, get knockouts every time they go out there. It's hard to do, especially at this stage in your career. Everybody's tough. You're sitting at 7 now. And really, I think there's only one person that makes sense, and it'd be a amazing stylistic fight, a fun striker's delight. I think you'd give him a Peter Yan potentially here, brother, but I want to hear your thoughts on it. And yeah, I think El Guapo, unfortunately, it felt like he kind of threw caution to the wind. It felt like he knew he just didn't have enough in the tank, as a competitor, and you could feel it. You could kind of even see it. I think you can almost notice maybe somewhere in like that 2nd or 3rd round, he just almost like his soul left his body. He was deflated. He was disengaged. The MMAnomaly roll in the 5th round was something like Tony Ferguson, just a bit desperado to me. Just all things considered, I love El Guapo. I love his heart. But Average Avenues, I mean, yeah, you do mention a good point with the heckling, and he's chirping at the audience. I know it's the Apex. I don't know if he fought during COVID. Maybe he's not used to that conditions. But hey, man, I mean, I played baseball. I mean, you play football. Like, that's part of the game. I mean, if you're sitting there reacting to the crowd, you're obviously not mentally, well, you don't have the mental fortitude, or at least you're just not mentally focused, like in the moment on what's in front of you. You're trying to find an escape. Obviously, he's not going to quit in the fight, but it's like, if you're too busy worrying about that shit, you're not worried about your opponent. You're not worried about how to inflict damage, about how you could set up something. Even if you want to be flashy, you want to throw some spinning kicks like your team was mentioning, which you don't love to hear, really. Again, I think it just, Song Yadong is a freaking beast. Like, El Guapo could have thrown everything in the kitchen sink at him, and Song Yadong still would have walked him down, taken him down, and beaten him up. And that's exactly what we got for 25 minutes. But here's your breakdown, brother. And what do you think's next for Song Yadong? Uh-oh.
Back. There it is. My goodness. Gotta laugh at myself here. So I was saying I completely agree with everything you said there. The things that I wrote down were 2 things. Positives about both fighters. Chris Gutierrez was poking and prodding with that lead leg kick and with the leg kicks in general. Leg kicks, body kicks, etc. The way that he would poke and prod were very Wonder Boy-like, right? He was poking very softly. He would just tap, 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 pap, and then he'd stab in with a leg kick or stab in with a body kick to the liver or to the solar plexus. And you love to see it. The way that he works that game in is tremendous. Truly fascinating to watch. As an MMA fan, it's like, just there's not really much else to say other than I'm here for it. Like, it's great to see. Song, however, controlled the boxing range throughout the entirety of the fight. Just very quick, pop, 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 peppering him up, leading with the footwork. The footwork differential was the biggest thing to note. And that was the biggest thing for Chris, was when he missed those leg kicks, I felt like he was getting very frustrated. And that was a lot due to the footwork of Song Yadong, or Yadong Song, however you want to say it. Now, once he controlled the boxing range in the first 2 rounds, he started mixing in takedowns. Even if he wasn't fully shooting those takedowns, he was mixing them in just to make his opponent respect them and also worry about them. So it's something that we don't see done often enough, where you mix in boxing with grappling, and Song does it with the best of them. biggest thing to note is what Average Avenues obviously addressed here in the chat prior, and that is between rounds 4 and 5, Chris's corner, Mark Montoya, said he's going to be looking for that takedown. We have to time it. And at the opening of the next round, of course, Chris rolls for a half-baked Imanari roll. Now, again, for the visual viewers, I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys how I wrote that down. Yeah. So you can see I literally drew a flatlined face there. He rolled for the half-baked Imanari roll there. I mean, like, there was just no reason for it. He's saying, let's time it. You efficiently and essentially did the exact opposite of that. Now, we heard numerous people, commentator-wise, going into this fight week saying that Gutierrez has suffered from self-sabotage outside of the octagon, this, that, and the other. I feel like this was a clear example of him suffering from self-sabotage inside of the octagon, because he, deliberately disobeyed his coach in there and went for the polar opposite of what his coach demanded of him. And that is essentially what, it's not what cost him the fight. Let's just call a spade here, guys. Like, right, record skip. He was down 4 rounds going into that 5th round, in my opinion. It was pretty significantly one-way traffic, 160 to 105 strikes landed. If you look on paper, apparently Chris Gutierrez landed the more significant strikes, 87 to 77. Firmly disagree with that. Just firmly disagree with that. I'm not going to even give it any more thought than that, if I'm being honest with you. Just because I think that couldn't be farther from the truth. Song Yadong went out there and put an absolute clinic on him. When he needed to, he was striking him and outstriking him. And once he realized that there was a threat in the leg kicks possibly adding up, he switched to a wrestling heavy approach. What else is there to say other than what do we think should be next for Song Yadong? Song Yadong is an absolute beast. It's crazy that we still call him a prospect in the UFC because of how long he's been here simply. But I digress. The kid is only 21-7, or I should say already 21-7, even though he's only 26 years of age. I think it might be time to run back that Corey Sandhagen loss. Very curious to hear your thoughts, Nano, on this one, but I think it's time for the Corey Sandhagen rematch, brother.
I love that. I was thinking about that too. If not Peter Yan, I do think Corey Sandhagen is an easy one to run back because it was a doctor's stoppage. It sucks that it's as a TKO technically, right? But maybe you could sell it in that, again, it was a doctor's stoppage. It was an extremely competitive fight. You throw on the highlights, it looks like it is every bit of 50-50 going into that 5th round, which I think everybody and their mothers wanted to see that one. Again, yeah, how do you sell it, right? Like, what's the story behind it? Is it because, hey, it was so close, like this is going to be for the next title contention fight? Henry and Mirab just got announced as well for 299. So that's going to have heavy implications. If you're Corey Sandhagen, do you wait to fight one of them? If Henry wins, do you say, hey, that's a legacy fight, maybe I'll wait to fight Henry, and then winner goes and fights for the championship? If you're Corey, do you wait until Cheeto and Sugar Sean fight? Then you hopefully fight the winner, right? Maybe you go to it. Maybe you're a backup. Maybe you show that you're ready to go there. It's tough, right? It's always timing, like we talk about, but I do think Peter Yan or Corey Sandhagen are the obvious picks for Yadong Song. He is right there in the conversation now. And he's a tough matchup. He's a problem for anybody at that weight. So I'm excited to see what's next for the kid, man. He's extremely talented. And I think I seen it here in the chat earlier that, hey man, Yadong Song could be a champ here within the next few years. I wouldn't be surprised. He has all the makings of it.
I think Song Yadong could definitely be a champion in the next few years. He's learning, he's growing, and something that I like to say very often here at the podcast and on Twitter and just in life in general is keep on going, keep on growing. That's something that Song Yadong does and just embodies every single fight in and out. I do like the names that you said there. I like Peter Yan. I think that's fun. There's a number of names that just make sense for this guy, right? Like Peter Yan, Henry Cejudo, Corey Sandhagen, Chito Vera, if he loses that fight against Sean O'Malley. I think that might actually be a good one, right? The loser of Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera would be a really good matchup. Honestly, I truly think the sky is the limit for this guy. Gonna go ahead and throw out a crazy lifeline here for Average Avenues 11 and agree. Sandhagen is set to fight Umair. I do think that you are right on that. And if that is a fight that is set up, I'm stoked. I know he withdrew from the fight back in July. They were supposed to fight each other. July 19th is when he withdrew. But if they reschedule that fight, I'm not mad at it. Definitely not mad at it. That's a fight we need to see, and then maybe the loser of that could fight him, right? Like either the loser of that or the loser of Chito versus Shikashao. Either way, folks, this was one hell of a fight card. Top to bottom, left to right, front to back, side to side, any way you pick it apart. I had a great time watching it. I know you did too. I hope the fans did as well. And my gosh, in a couple of days, we're going to be breaking down the final fight card of 2023, folks. Can you believe it? UFC 296 is upon us, and I, for one, cannot wait to break it down with one of my best friends, Jive Turkey Nano, here on the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter. Definitely let us know your picks on Wednesday's show in the chat. We love to see it. And as you know, we do have a competition going on, or rather a contest going on. Like the comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment on the video. If you want to go back and enter yourself into some extra kind of chances to win the meat and potato striker shirt that we did with Sean Strickland, go back and like and comment on the other videos. All you have to do is like a video, comment on a video, and be subscribed to the channel. Every like and comment plus being subscribed will count as you being entered to the drawing, and the winner will win a little meat and potato striker sticker, and we'll probably, or a t-shirt, and we'll probably throw in an MMAnomaly Show No Filter sticker for you too. Leo gonna have to take a rain check on that UFC 5 fight, but I will fight you on Wednesday, my friend. We'll do it right after the stream, and I'll post the results, win or lose, the good, the bad, the ugly. You can bet it's going to go up on the Twitter, my guy. As always, we appreciate everybody who joined in on the live stream. Like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell for notifications. And as I said before, one thing we like to say here is keep on going, keep on growing, and we'll see you on Wednesday, folks. Thanks again.
You've been listening to the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter. As you may have been able to tell, we dig the MMA, and our passion is to dive deep into the upcoming fights, give you our expert breakdowns, and help you make sense of all the chaos that is the fight game. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, make sure to find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at MMAnomaly. Be cool, and we'll see you next time.